So what we're going to do today is we're going to put a golf ball texture like this onto a cup. We're going to use a 30 ounce though instead of this one. The bottom part's going to be the tee, and the top part's going to be the ball. So we're going to do it to this cup. We've got a little bit of mesh here. This is our golf ball texture mesh. And it's in the white plastic. Our honeycomb hex mesh is in this orange plastic. This plastic is more heat resistant, so the method I'm going to use here does not work very well for this plastic. However, if I get time, I'm going to do this in the white plastic instead, so that we can actually use the same method on it, because I think this method works a little bit better. So I think I'm going to put it on this direction. What you'll notice is over on this side of the mesh, these pieces are larger. So in this case, I'm just going to cut this thicker part off because I'm not going to use it. You'll want to go through the mesh and clean up any extra plastic that's in the print. In this particular case, this was a reject that I didn't want to send to a customer, so it's got quite a bit for me to clean up. Now I'm going to be fitting the mesh on in this direction. I'm going to start by gluing it right here in the middle, work my way down and glue along this entire spine through here. This way, as I wrap the mesh around the cup, I'll wrap from both sides. I've got some glue here in this little bottle. I've taken this super glue here and put it in a little bottle with a little nozzle so I have better control over it. And I've also got some baking soda, which I've also put into another little bottle. That way I can squirt it out in controlled manner on little spots. So I line my mesh up, flush with the top, get it as flush as I can up at the top. And I take my glue and just put a little dot on. Get it set into that glue, make sure it's good and flush. And then I'll use the baking soda and squirt just a little bit on the glue. And what this does is it causes the glue to cure almost instantly. It won't work very deep into a big puddle of glue, but it works great for this. And then I'll work my way down the cup along that line, gluing as I go. Okay, that looks good right there. I'm just going to double check for straightness. I can probably skew it a little bit when I've heated it up. I'm not going to use any of this bottom portion of the mesh, so I'm going to cut it off right through here. Checking the fit and a little bit of last minute gluing. Next I'm going to use a heat gun. I want it turned down to a very low temperature. If I need it a little bit hotter, I'll turn it up as I work. I also use the low speed. I'll go back and forth across the texture, warming it up, watching for gravity to bend it down into shape. Melted plastic can cause some pretty bad burns, so you don't want to get it too hot. See, just as it starts to move, then you'll know to move on. And then I glue along the edge to glue that side down. We then repeat the process for the other side and go along the bottom edge and make sure there's nothing sticking up there. Next we want to go through and find any high spots where the texture comes off of the surface of the cup and heat those up so they sink back down to the surface of the cup and possibly gluing them in place. I then take additional plastic and line it up with the plastic that's already on the cup and glue the edge into place. Use a little bit of heat to help wrap it a little, get it into shape. Then trim the plastic for height, and then heat wrap it the rest of the way around to where it matches the other plastic, and cut to length. Now for the difficult part. The two edges don't line up exactly perfect, so I have to cut and clip and stretch until I get things to match fairly well. One last review for any places where the mesh is not in contact with the cup, either gluing it down or heating it down to the surface. Thanks for watching. You can buy the mesh at Kimby'sCaps.com.